Hey, Grant with DJI here, excited to chat today about location information, whether that's pins, annotations, sharing, and we'll cover some additional details as well. First, it's important to understand what pins are. So you would want to utilize a pin as pilot, utilizing Pilot 2 for a location that's being viewed. Maybe you want to document the coordinates of that specific location. So with the H20 series, the H30 series, or the M30 series, you can use that built-in laser rangefinder to document the specific location. As you can see here on the right, looking in, pressing that pin button on the bottom left, that corresponds to a button on the RC Plus, and that location is marked. With the Mavic 3 Enterprise, you're going to be utilizing the aircraft location, so flying over a location and looking straight down would be your best option for marking the XY of that location. You can also simply go directly to the map, and based on the crosshair in the middle of the map, when you press the pin button, there will be a pin dropped at that location. You can tap and hold on the pin button, whether that's on your screen for the Mavic 3 Enterprise or it's a physical button on the RC Plus. And then from there, you're able to change the color of the pins that are being dropped. So you can also go in and check all your pins if you wanted to update the name or sort your pins for managing them. From there, we have some additional tools built on top of the pins themselves. First off is the look at pin function, and you can see it's a pin with an eyeball on it in the top left of the camera view. So we can simply tap that as shown here, and our camera is going to go to the last pin dropped. It's just going to be automatically selected. You can also use the map or custom RC key shortcuts to select a different pin. So you can see here in the bottom right, we've gone into the camera view, click the three dots on the top right, and we're going to go into the remote controller submenu. From there, we can go ahead and select Customize RC Buttons. Scroll down, we'll select the 5D button, go over to App, and you can see we have various functions here for the pinpoint. Makes life easy for cycling through pinpoints and looking at those different functions, as we'll talk about here in a little bit with the use cases. You can also do that for the C buttons as well. Just depends on what remote controller or preferences you have, but you can always set that up in the Customize RC Buttons pilot profile. So overall, collecting this pin location information can be valuable, but oftentimes you may want to share it. You may not always have the ability to connect to the internet or have the time to, so we have some different options available. First off, you can export all of the pins. You're going to go back to that pin menu by tapping and holding on the pin button, then select Check All Pins. So we'll see that here in the top right. After you check all pins, you can then select the export option, and you can export all of the points to a KML. From there, you can go back to the home screen of the remote controller and go into the Files section by clicking on the sandwich menu here in the top left. You can make sure you're in internal storage. Then you'll go into the DJI folder, and from there into the pin folder, and you'll have the KMLs that were exported. You can tap and hold on the KML and then use the three dots to move or copy it to a location like a thumb drive you could plug into the remote controller or SD card. Another option is to simply get a location of a singular pin. You'll select the pin on the map and you'll hit the share button right here. That will give you a QR code, which will provide a link to a Google Maps location that you could easily text or share with team members. You do have additional tools within the map as well to draw lines or polygons. So it would be nice if you need to set a search area and you'd like to know if the drone's within that search area, you can quickly reference the map and the polygon that has been made. For online location sharing, we do have our FlightHub 2 service. So within your FlightHub 2 project, you can make annotations and sync those to our team members in the field. The nice thing about FlightHub 2, whether you're on the remote controller, a mobile device, or a computer, you can have the annotations updated across all of those devices automatically. So you can see a draw tool being used within the FlightHub 2 web portal here to draw out a search area. A few notes for the web portal. You can tap an annotation to delete or edit it. So you can see in this case, we just deleted an annotation. And then you can also tap the drawing tool once to enter the drawing mode. And you'll see here, we'll tap it again to get out of the annotation mode. So we saw that little blue triangle that pops up when we are in annotation drawing mode. And then you tap it again, that blue triangle is going to disappear, and then you're no longer dropping pins and can go back to navigating around the map. One important note for visibility is that it's important to distribute a folder to team members if you want folks to see it on the remote controller. So you can see here, we're going to put these annotations in our shared folder, which is automatically distributed. If you made a new folder, you would want to go ahead and distribute it if you wanted pilots to see the annotations, or you can manage annotations, dragging them in between folders if you do want it to show up on the map for the pilot. So we can see here, it's blue, it's been distributed, that default folder is not. You also have some other tools up here on top. Shift F is going to collapse all of your annotations if you have a large number of them. And then search function, you can import KMLs or export data as a KML. And then you can go ahead and create new folders as well, either overall or within other folders. So lots of tools there to manage your annotations from the FlightHub 2 web portal if you do have connectivity and would like everyone to be on the same page. The last part here is just talking about some of the use cases we've seen public safety departments utilizing these tools for. When dropping a pin could be around an area, you could then draw a polygon based on those pin drops to get an area estimate. So it could be during a fire or post-fire scenario. Obviously, mapping is going to be able to provide a more accurate measurement and some additional data there, but can be nice for a quick estimate. If there's a location you want to fly to, or last known location, or an address found by searching on the map, dropping a pin, as we saw, provides a nice AR view and location information to easily fly to a location. If you were on scene and needed to come back for a battery swap or had another pilot coming to location, dropping a pin for them could be nice, or yourself, so you know exactly where you want to come back to, or what is being looked at for items of interest. If we've seen incidents where a suspect on the run may ditch something, team members want to go back for that later, but they need to keep following the suspect with the drone. So dropping a pin there and continuing on can be quite useful as well. See the image here on the top right where we have structures near a fire line, all three of those marked with pins. You can use those shortcut keys to cycle through them. And then finally, if you were doing a fire cleanup, could use pins to look at specific hotspots. As we talked about before, you could use specific colors and tie them to a specific meaning as well, and then can export that KML or utilize FlightHub 2 for getting that information to team members on the ground. Thanks for joining me today. Hopefully you feel more versed on location information overall within Pilot 2 and FlightHub 2.